Live, not from New York. It's the Get Clear Show. And now, here's Laura.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Get Clear Show. I'm Laura Wing, and I'm your host, and I am very excited tonight because we have a special guest with us. His name is Herman Martinez, and he is one of the most brilliant artists I have run into in a while. And as you all know, I interview one artist every week and give them an opportunity to showcase their work. And Herman has some incredible work to show us this evening. But before we get started with that, I would like to give a great shout out to our sponsor for tonight's show. I want to give a shout out to Richard Santiago of oursantiagoart.com, and he is sponsoring tonight's show. If you need some illustrations, graphics, logos, or murals done, Richard's your guy. So go ahead and give him a call. In the meantime, I'd like for us to give a warm welcome to Mr. Herman Martinez. Herman, welcome to the show.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and I am so glad that you're here tonight. You know, I was taking a look at a lot of the different things that you have on your website, and one of the first things that I noticed when we first got in touch with each other and we're deciding to do this show is that you have you've painted on some guitars, and I thought that was really interesting. I've never seen anybody do artwork on a guitar before. I mean, certainly we've seen some pretty cool looking guitars out there, but I've never seen somebody actually paint on those. So what gave you the idea to do something like that?
Mostly boredom, just sitting around and wanting to change things. And, you know, however it looks now, I'll probably add a million things, you know, within the next couple of months. It's always ever expanding, and everything just grows and changes.
Really? Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. So I love to ask artists this question. When did you first know that you were truly an artist?
When I was a little kid. I couldn't stop. I always had a notebook on me. I was always reading comic books, trying to draw, you know, the pictures from the comics. And then I would tell people that I did them myself. And, you know, it was just, I always just wanted to do that. I was always inspired by, you know, just really intense visuals, I guess. Just, you know, anything with a lot of color, a lot of lines, a lot of details and depth. And just, you know, I was always just a student of that, I guess.
So did you study art when you were in school, or is this something that it just came to you? And I know some people, you know, study for a long time to get to be able to do the amazing type of work that you do.
I mean, I took basic art classes all throughout school, but nothing that really, I guess, called to what I would eventually get into. You know, I guess it's good to learn the basics, and it's good to have teachers tell you how to do certain things. But, you know, once you hit a certain peak, you just kind of have to let your brain take over and, you know, just figure out your own way of doing things.
Yeah, and you've definitely developed into a very unique style. And I was telling you before the show started that I really like surrealism, and you've got a real taste for what I am personally drawn to. And I know some people, that's not their thing. Maybe they like something a little bit different, but I was really drawn to some of the work that you've done. And I'm curious as to, did your style evolve through the years, or have you always just has this always been your bent?
It definitely evolved. When I was younger, I was into a lot more macabre kind of things, horror things, skulls and eyeballs and, you know, graffiti-ish kind of art. And then, you know, eventually I started picking up paintbrushes, and, you know, before long I was actually pretty good at it. And then I just, you know, once I had more of a color palette available to me, I just started turning it into my own thing.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and pull up one of your websites here that I was looking at earlier today, and I'm going to give our audience a chance to look at some of these great pieces that you have. So give me just a second here. So for those of you who are just tuning in, we are talking with Herman Martinez, and your website, Herman, that's hermanmartinez.deviantart.com, is that right?
Yes.
And I have your gallery pulled up here, and I think this is really pretty cool. So this is the guitar that really caught my attention when
I actually have that guitar right behind me. I could hold it up to the camera awkwardly.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That would be great. Go ahead.
Give me 1 second.
So while he's getting that, I want to let everybody know this was the guitar that sort of caught my attention. Wow. Okay. What did you use on that? What did you paint that with?
Silver Sharpies and geometric instruments and doohickeys.
Oh, okay. So it's not paint. It's actually a Sharpie.
Yeah.
I didn't even know a Sharpie would stick to wood. That's pretty amazing. I had no idea.
It's probably just because of the finish on this particular guitar. I have another one that I did something similar to, and it rubs off whenever I play it. So.
Wow. That's really awesome. Hey, Herman, can you move your camera just a little bit so we can see you better?
Yeah, how's that? Is that better?
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. That's awesome. So I'm going to go back over to your website and we'll take a look. Whoops, let me get there just a second. And we'll go ahead and take a look at, so this is just the front of the same guitar, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I love this one right here, this Chemical Marriage. I really, really like that. Where do you get your ideas? I always ask people this because I'm like an art derelict. I can't draw a stick figure straight. And so when I see people do this amazing stuff, I'm like, how do they do that? Where do you get your ideas from?
I think a lot of the spacey stuff I probably got from, those NASA photographs and just, anything that you could find online that has like the Hubble telescope pictures and all those things. And just,
wow.
I probably seek out similar art and see how other artists do, this kind of atmosphere in their paintings.
And what did you paint this with?
Acrylic paints, regular cheapy brushes.
Just regular brushes on a regular canvas?
Yeah.
I really like this one as well, this meditation that's down here. So tell me about this one. I know that you said some of these paintings were a little bit older, but tell me about this one. What was the inspiration for this?
I did this in my old apartment, and I don't know, me and my girlfriend used to just meditate a lot, and that kind of gets me in the mood to create and just, work on projects. So this probably just stemmed from that.
That one's pretty. I like the colors.
Thank you.
You have definitely developed your own style, and I personally, it's a style that I happen to like. These are the types of things that I would put in my house. So I really like this stuff. Do you sell a lot of your paintings and artwork? I know you do some tattooing, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But what about your these paintings that we're seeing here? Do you sell those to people?
Yeah, actually, this one right behind me, somebody recently commissioned me to do. I'm still working on it. Yeah. Some of the ones that were on that page, I actually sold when I was living in New Jersey. The last year that I was there, I think people knew that I was trying to move, and they were probably just trying to help me out. So I did.
And you're in Atlanta now, right?
I'm in Lawrenceville, actually. I'm about 40 minutes away from Atlanta.
Oh, okay, 40 minutes away. So where do you find your customers then? Where do you find your clients that want to commission you? They just see your work?
Yeah, I still do at my new shop that I'm working at now, but at my old tattoo shop, I would always take paintings with me and work on them there and just hang them up on the wall. People would ask me about them. Some of my clients would, just pick them up, in addition to whatever tattoo they were getting.
Well, I want to talk about those tattoos for just a minute. Let me show this to our audience. So this is Herman's, this is your Instagram page, is that right?
Yes.
Is this Instagram? Okay. So these are the pictures of the different tattoos that you've done and that you've posted on Instagram. And so if somebody wants to find you on Instagram, they just type in your name and they can find you and see the work that you've done?
Yeah, it's under Herman Martinez Artwork.
Artwork. Okay. So when people come in to your tattoo shop, do they have a design in mind already, or are you?
Sometimes. Some people will just give me a general idea of what they want, and they'll just let me come up with something on my own. Some people have, they come in with things that they printed out. I want exactly this. But, most of the time I just get my way, and they let me just, be creative.
Well, that takes a lot of trust because, it's pretty permanent. So they must really be trusting you. And you have some incredible work. Was this one of your original ideas right here, this one with the owls and the clock?
I probably took a couple of references that the guy gave me and just, made it into my own thing. He wanted those flowers specifically on the bottom.
Well, that's pretty cool. So
You know, a lot of the time I can just show people my portfolio and they'll say, oh, you know, you're pretty good. Just do whatever you want.
Just do what you want. Yeah. Well, you are. You're really good. I like this one. This here, is this, what is it? Ships? A ship or some boats or something? What am I looking at?
Yeah, somebody had started a pirate ship on his arm and they never finished it. So he just came to me and I added all the sky colors and stuff in the back. And we're still working on that. That's on the inside of his arm. Right now we're working on his forearm from like going down from his elbow.
So tell me, what do you prefer doing? Do you like doing the paintings like on a canvas, or do you prefer doing tattoos? What's your favorite way to go about executing your style?
I mean, I think it's very therapeutic working on paintings. It's, you know, I just do it at my own leisure and there's no rush and there's no pressure. When I'm working on tattoos, it might be a little more stressful, but at least, you know, doing tattoos, I can support myself.
That's where the money is for you?
Yeah.
So this guitar, this is awesome. This is awesome. Do you sell these after you make your designs on them?
I haven't yet. The two that you've been talking about are just mine guitars that I've been playing for the last couple of years. If somebody wanted me to, I could easily just deck out their whole, you know, anything they wanted with similar designs.
I mean, this is just some amazing stuff that you have going on here. So let's talk about, that's another thing that we can talk about today, is the fact that you also play music, don't you?
I do.
I think I went through one of your sites. You sent me a link, and is that on your DeviantArt? Do you have music on there as well?
No, I have a bunch of different websites that I'm selling my album through.
Okay. I know I went somewhere and I actually unfortunately we can't share that with the audience through this particular broadcast, but that music was really awesome. There was some meditation music in there, if I remember right.
Yeah, actually, I think there's a few songs that I put some solfeggio frequencies in the back, like really hidden, which are meditation frequencies.
So you write your own music, or does somebody write it for you and then you just play it?
No. I've been writing my own music for almost 20 years.
Okay, well, so let's see. Tattoo artist. You do painting. You can do stuff on instruments, and you play music. Do you sing?
I do. I sing and I play many instruments.
That's crazy. I don't know anybody that's that multi-talented. That's just amazing. So do you have any musical gigs that you do?
Yeah, I'm actually playing at the Red Clay Theater this Sunday.
Really?
Yeah, at 6 p.m. It's in Duluth, Georgia.
How did you get started with music?
I went to high school with a lot of people that, you know, were playing guitar and playing drums, and just hanging out with them kind of made me want to get into it. And, you know, luckily for me, I had a knack for it. So.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've listened to some of your stuff. How can somebody find your album if they want to go? I think, do you have samples somewhere online of your albums?
Yes, I have a whole list of websites right here. I'm on Reverb Nation, Bandcamp, SoundCloud. I'm on Amazon, iTunes, Spotify.
Okay.
All you got to do is just look up my name, and I'm sure something will pop up.
Herman Martinez, and they can find you that way.
Yeah, the name of the album is Solopsy Radio.
Solopsy Radio. Yeah, like I said, unfortunately, we can't show that we can't hear it through this broadcast, which is really a bummer because I thought it was some pretty cool stuff. But I want to go back over to your Instagram page here. And I have a question about this. You said that on the guitar, you just used a Sharpie and you used some instruments to make these geometrics. Mm-hmm. Is that how you do it on your canvas too? Do you use instruments, or are you freehanding this?
No, I use a lot of rulers and circle makers and compasses and, you know, basic geometric tools. Anything that you could find at any art store, or even, you know, at the stationery section of the supermarket. It's pretty easy.
So all in all, how long would you say that you've been doing artwork for a living?
For a living, probably in the last 13 years.
It's a long time. It's a long time to make a living doing art. And are you passionate about it? Do you love it?
Oh yeah, of course.
So I know
I can't stop. Even if I tried, I would just find myself doing things.
It's in your blood. Yeah, it's in your blood. I know my husband and I we're art connoisseurs, and I am I can't, if I pick up a pencil and try to draw something, it's going to look like a first grader did it. I promise you, it's really that bad. So when I meet people, I always wonder, you know, like, how does your brain work that your mind can tell your hand to create something so incredible? That's always so baffling to me. Have you ever taught other people how to draw or how to paint? You given art lessons at all?
Yeah, I mean, I used to, when I was at my old shop in New Jersey and we had newer apprentices trying to learn how to tattoo, I would, you know, try to teach them the best I could, at least, you know, to the extent that I knew back then. I'm a little better at it now. Painting wise, I've always had a lot of friends that were artists, and we all just kind of taught each other. So I'm sure they learned things from me. I'm sure I learned things from them. It was a, you know, mutually beneficial kind of experience, I guess.
You hang out with a lot of people then that are also into art.
Yes. I mean, I've only been in Georgia for a little less than a year now, so I'm still trying to get into the swing of things around here. I've definitely met a lot of really cool people out here, but you know, it'd be nice to get my foot in the door and maybe do a few more galleries, or just, you know, just meet as many like-minded people as I can.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's always good. I don't care whether you're doing art or, you know, something else. When you run into people that are interested in the same things that you're interested in, it really can give you kind of a, you know, just a better sense of what you're doing, and can really help you break into things and give you some really cool ideas. I find that even when I make videos or I write, I'm an author, so I write books. And if I hang out with people who get that and I have a question about it, then they usually help me, you know, and I can help them maybe with something that they're working on also. So it's a pretty cool thing. Mm-hmm. Have you ever collaborated with somebody else on a piece?
Yeah, I'm sure I have. I used to paint a lot on walls, and when I was living with a bunch of roommates a few years ago, we would all just, you know, do whatever we wanted on the walls. It was our apartment, and nobody told us not to. So, you know, unfortunately, I probably don't have that many pictures of what was going on back then. I probably do somewhere, just not that I can conjure at the moment.
How do you go about finding clients and business, and how do you get business for doing tattoos and for doing your, you know, selling your paintings and stuff?
A lot of it is just people walking into the shop and asking to see my, you know, my work, and I'll show them, and if they like my work, then they're my clients. Or, you know, if they like somebody else's work, the other young lady that I work with, I'll direct them to her. Our boss does a lot of work getting our names out there and just, you know, trying to show off our stuff on her Facebook and on the shop's Facebook. And just, you know, a lot of word of mouth. You tattoo one person, they show two of their friends, and then they want to get something done, and then they show two of their friends, and then, you know, before you know it, you just have like a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, yeah. And I can see how that would work. So this is something that I'm really big into, and that is trying to help artists promote themselves online. I mean, certainly you've got the benefit of working in a shop where all of that advertising is being done for you, and you know, really you just have to sit back and do the work. Somebody comes in, you just do the work. But there are a lot of artists out there who don't have that benefit, and they're trying to promote themselves any way that they can. So I don't know how much promoting, other than, like, I've seen your Instagram, your website, and I know some of your music is out on these other sites, but what types of ways would you suggest somebody could go about promoting themselves online?
I mean, myself personally, I think I've done a lot more to get my music out there than I have to get my artwork out there. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot of sites that, you know, you just pay like whatever fee. I don't know, you might have to have like a contract for a year, and you get to put all your stuff on there, and they'll help you promote it, and they'll email you offers, and you submit your work, and other people see it, and maybe you'll get some kind of job offer or something. But I'm not the best person at getting my things out there online. I miss the days when you could just kind of go out and hand people CDs or just hand people flyers, and you know, sitting behind a computer. I guess it seems like it should be a really effective way of getting your stuff out there, but I don't know. There's not a lot of life in it. I feel better just being out in the world, talking to people and meeting people and just creating things, than sitting behind a computer waiting for people to hit the like button, I guess.
Right.
You know, but I know that it's a necessary part, so I do my best to keep up with it.
Yeah, and it is hard to keep up with because it's ever changing. I know 5 years ago when I first started doing this show, I didn't even know how to get video from my camera onto the computer, you know. And about the time that I finally got a good process down for that, everything changed. I had to learn a new program, and I had to learn new things. And I don't care if you're trying to market ice or you're trying to market, you know, footwear. It doesn't matter what it is. Anytime you're trying to market something and you're doing that online, you have to be able to keep up with it. I mean, just marketing your stuff can be a full-time job anymore. But it's like you said, gone are the days when people would hang a flyer up, because everybody's face is now down on the phone. They're not even looking at flyers. If they can't find you on Facebook, or they don't find you on Instagram, or, you know, online somewhere that's easily accessible to them, they're not going to find you. That's just the world that we live in now. So I think more than just being a good artist, because unfortunately what I think is happening is there are some really talented artists out there who have great pieces that they could be selling and great works that need to get out to the public, but they're not, because these same people have not immersed themselves in the digital world, and they're not learning how to promote themselves and market themselves in a way that unfortunately is how we do things now. I mean, people just don't take an ad out on the radio or on television and expect people to flock to them anymore. You have to have that website. You have to have something going on online. It's tough. So how do you keep up with all of that? Do you have anybody that helps you, or you do this by yourself?
I mean, you always have people that will give you advice or give you some new website you should check out or some new blog that you should read. A lot of it is probably just being up at 2 a.m, Googling, you know, what I can do to promote myself. But, you know, you pick up bits of information here and there, and then you just try to apply them. And that's what I've been doing, at least for the last, since I've been here. I moved here last September, and, you know, I've just, whatever social life I had back home has converted into just trying to get all my stuff out there.
Just, yeah. And it's a lot of work. It really is. But I think that the rewards to that and the payoff is really great. One of the other cool things about doing something online, for example, your music, you know, it used to be that if a musician wanted to get their album out there or get known or get famous, man, they had to just be lucky. And that's the bottom line. I mean, they might go play a local gig somewhere, and if they were lucky, some talent scout saw them or heard them, or they'd send their album off and the right person happened to hear it, and they would get lucky and they would hit it big. But nobody has to wait anymore. You know, we don't have to wait for Hollywood to find us. We don't have to wait to be discovered, because now you can simply just put your content out there online, and potentially millions of people can hear that and see that, and you don't need anybody's permission for that.
Mm-hmm. And it'll probably still be out there 100 years from now.
That's right, exactly. And I think that's pretty cool. I mean, especially for somebody who loves to create and loves to share that creation with other people. And so it has its downfalls, because it's a lot of work. But you know, they had their downfalls too before the digital age, where they had to travel so much to go from one gig to the next, hoping to make a buck. So it's just, I guess it's just all a matter of perspective and what you're willing to put into and what you're willing to learn.
Yeah, if you're willing to do the work, you'll get the results.
So young artists that are just starting out, and maybe they're interested in becoming tattoo artists, or maybe they want to be musicians, what advice do you have for them?
Just do it. Just get up and do it. The more you think about it, you're not gonna, less thought, more action, I guess. Save the thoughts for the writing process, but for actually getting your stuff out there, just get up and do it. As far as tattooing, get to a shop, get yourself an apprenticeship, learn to do things the right way, rather than, you know, just do it out of your kitchen for a year and tell people that you're a tattoo artist and mess up a bunch of people's art, you know? Yeah, learn what you have to do it the right way, because otherwise you're not gonna have a permanent and lasting reputation. Yeah, absolutely. So that's your advice. Just go ahead and do it. I've talked to a lot of people who said, you know, when I was younger and I was first starting out, I would get a lot of criticism, and it sort of took the wind out of my sails. Did that ever happen to you at any point in your career? Oh yeah, always. And even a lack of criticism. Sometimes it's, you try to get things out there and nobody says anything about it, you know? There's times where I wish somebody would hear something and say something bad about it, rather than just not say anything at all, rather than just not listen at all. I mean, you could probably be the best at what you do in anything, and you're still going to get criticism. So you shouldn't have to really worry about that. Yeah.
As a writer, I understand that, because sometimes I'll write a piece and nothing. Nobody clicks like on it, nothing. And then other times I'll write something and it's like, wow, I get all kinds of comments on there, and they're not always positive either. So I really understand that, but I'd rather hear that than nothing.
Yeah.
So I think I kind of get that.
Even if somebody says something bad, at least they felt something at that moment to say something bad about, you know?
Yeah. You tapped into some emotion.
Yeah, rather than nothing at all.
I can't imagine that you get too much negative feedback, because your work really is pretty good. I mean, I can't imagine that too many people are like, that sucks, I don't like that. You probably don't hear that very much, do you?
Nah. Well, I mean, sometimes people will surprise you. Sometimes you think especially sometimes I'll be doing a tattoo and in my head, this is amazing. And then their friend will be with them and leaning over and they'll be like, what's that? That's not supposed to be there. And it just makes me feel this small sometimes. And yeah, but that's natural. That happens to everybody.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. You just get through it, right? You move on to the next thing. Yeah, you've got it. You just move on to the next thing. So I was thinking about my daughter, my middle daughter, when she was in high school, she kind of dabbled with art, and she's pretty crafty. She's pretty creative. She's a professional photographer, but she had done some drawings in an art class. And that was when eBay was kind of the thing, you know, everybody was getting on eBay and selling stuff. Mm-hmm. And so she put maybe 3 or 4 different pieces of her artwork on eBay, and one of them actually sold, and she actually made some pretty decent money off of it. But she was so bummed out because that was her least favorite one of all of them that she put on there. And her other ones that she thought were just like dead on, nobody even put a bid in on those. So the thing sometimes, I think, because I've talked to other artists, that they think is like, yeah, this one really rocks, I really like this one. Somebody else comes along and is like, no, I like this one better. And you're like, really? Because that's not my best work. Does that happen to you?
Yeah, it probably happens to me more with tattoos, because somebody will give me an idea for something and I'll spend hours drawing it out and it'll be super elaborate and awesome, and I'll show it to them. And then they'll pull out something on their phone and they'll say, hey, you know, I'd rather it look like this. And the one on their phone is just super simple and boring. And that's probably a tattoo that 100 people have already. Yeah,
it's nothing unique.
Yeah.
And I really would wonder about your music. I mean, where you have several different things on that album, then I'm sure you have one favorite that's on that album. And is that also the one that other people like the most?
I've heard people say different things. As far as my favorite, I think musically, my favorite thing has to be probably whatever I'm currently working on, so that I give it, like, I guess, that extra bit of energy. On the album, I can't really pick out anything. I worked on it with my producer, whose name is Ahmed Mahmoud. And
put a plug in.
Yeah. And we worked on the album for probably a year and a half, maybe, you know, give or take. And just the whole process of recording the album, it was just so awesome that probably every song on there is my favorite. So it's hard to isolate anything.
Have you been able to determine yet what your audience's favorite is?
Probably not.
No.
I have a few sites where it shows you how many people listen to, you know, which song, and they're all kind of even. So I guess whoever goes to the sites, they'll probably just hear 1 or 2 or 3 songs, and then, you know, same thing happens next time somebody visits, and, you know, it's all just kind of evened out.
So I was talking to an artist not too long ago that says that they paint to music. They've got to have music on when they're painting. Do you play music while you're painting?
It definitely helps, especially if it's something, you know, there's a lot of bands that put you in the mood to be creative, I guess. It also helps for tattooing. I like having music in the background when I'm tattooing. It puts me in a flow. I'll start singing along. I'll start whistling in somebody's ear, and, you know,
you're in the zone.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. What's your favorite kind of music?
I like a lot of stuff. I like a lot of orchestra kind of music. I like Nintendo music. I like death metal. I like classic rock. There's just so many things. All of it in one shot.
Yeah. So do you just play the guitar, or do you play any other instruments?
I play guitar, piano, drums, bass, a little bit of harmonica, mandolin, probably percussion instruments. I program music. I have a ukulele and a violin floating around somewhere. I'm probably better at some things than others, but I have a pretty wide range.
Wow, that's incredible.
You put me in a room with a bunch of instruments and some microphones, and I'll record some wacky stuff.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I want to tell you a funny story about a violin. So my husband and I, well, we love art, we love culture, we love music, we love all kinds of stuff. But like I said, I'm not musically inclined, I'm not artistic. I just know what I like when I hear it and when I see it. But he bought a violin, and really he just got this violin for kind of like for show. He just wanted it just to have it. And he doesn't know how to play the violin. He can read music, but that's about as far as it goes. And he was trying to make noise with this violin, and there was no sound coming out of it. So we went down to this big open market in Kansas City, and there was this gal there. You know how they do? They go down to different places like parks and things, and people will play music, put a hat out, and you can throw money in the hat.
Yeah.
So she's playing this violin, and I mean, the music that was coming out of there was to die for. It was just gorgeous. And so my husband went up to her, and he's like, "Hey, I can't get music to come out of my violin. What am I doing wrong?" So she told him, and he came home and he did it. And gosh, it was really pretty good. I mean, he was able to get music to come out of there, and it's pretty neat. So, I've been married to this guy for 33 years, and I don't think I've ever seen him play a violin before. So it was pretty cool. But music's a cool thing. It's the one language that can just, extend across all layers, and it breaks down barriers, social barriers, cultural barriers. Music's a pretty cool thing. And the same with art. People can walk into a museum from all different cultures, and you can have 10 or 12 people from different ethnic groups, different backgrounds, all looking at the same piece of art and all appreciating that. And to me, that is a pretty cool thing. It's just a universal language.
Has the power to unify people.
It really does. It really does. And it breaks down barriers. I had a gal on the show last week, Kelly Crosby, and that was one of the things that we talked about, is how art can break down those cultural barriers that exist, unfortunately. It's a pretty cool thing. I love art, and I love getting to talk to artists and kind of figure out how their minds work. So if you could leave our audience today with just one thought about your music, particularly how to find it. I want people to know for sure how they can go find your music. So would you tell us again what your website is, where they can find your music, all that stuff?
You could find me on Reverb Nation, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, CD Baby. I'm on Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, and probably all kinds of other stuff that I don't even know about. Just look me up, Herman Martinez. The album is called Solopsy Radio. I worked on it for a year and a half with Ahmed, and it's awesome. Just check it out. It
is. It's really, really awesome. And I'm going to go ahead and get a copy of that because I loved listening to it. It's kind of one of those albums that you listen to, you're like, I've never heard anything quite like this. It's very original, but it's also, it's beautiful. It's really awesome. I really liked it.
I appreciate it.
And so to find out about your artwork, can they just find you on Instagram, send you a message if they're interested in commissioning you for a piece?
Yes. I'm on Instagram. I also volunteer on Thursdays at the Dizzy Gypsy Gallery in downtown Lawrenceville. So I'm always there on Thursdays. I'm always working on stuff. I always have, a guitar with me. I'm there. People want to come by. They can buy CDs from me. They can ask me about my art. They can make appointments with me for tattoos or, whatever.
Really? That's awesome. Yeah. So they can actually make an appointment with you there, even though you're not at the tattoo shop?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm very selective about who I give my phone number to, but if it's somebody that I don't think is gonna go crazy on me, well, we can be friends.
Yeah, sure. You don't need any psychos in your life. Well, that's pretty cool. Well, I've been so excited to get to talk to you today, and I love your work. I think you do some amazing stuff.
Thank you very much.
So you just keep at it and don't stop, and keep posting those things online. Keep putting your work out there for people to see, because you've got some great stuff, and I think you need to be able to share that with the world, really.
Thank you very much.
So any thoughts that you would leave with our audience, any last thoughts for new artists that would like to aspire to be as great as you are?
Shouldn't have anything to do with me, but just anybody that wants to do anything, just get up and do it. And don't, the world looks like a horror show sometimes, and just don't let it get you down, and just work on things and leave a body of work behind when you go, leave
a legacy. I like that.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Herman, thank you so much. I'm going to make sure that all of your websites and some information about you is in the description after this show.
Thank you.
And that way our audience can find you. But I appreciate so much you being on the Get Clear show today. And thank you for being our featured artist of the week.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So you've been watching the Get Clear show, and we were talking with Herman Martinez, and what a brilliant artist he is. And he just does some amazing stuff that just makes your mind, relax and think. And I love his music too. So if you have a chance to check out his music, please go do that. We're going to leave some information on the bottom of this screen for you. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today. As always, thank you for watching. Have a great day.